Hi and welcome to Cosmic Consciousness with Cassia. On this channel we discuss all aspects of the ascension process. I have a variety of services that I offer to assist you in your awakening journey, and you can find those listed in the description box below. Today we're going to be talking about Mercury Retrograde. That's right, we are in our third and final Mercury Retrograde of 2020. And what a retrograde it is going to be. This retrograde is beginning when Mercury stations retrograde on October 14th at 11 degrees of Scorpio. And it will be completing when Mercury stations direct on November 4th at 26 degrees of Libra. And then, of course, we will have the post-shadow period as Mercury moves back to 11 degrees of Scorpio again. So we'll still be feeling the energies during that period, but they will have started to level out. We're in the pre-shadow period right now, so no doubt we have already been feeling and experiencing these energies. I know that I have. And so Mercury, we've done a few of these videos, especially those who followed Intuitive Insights, my original sister channel. So we talked about these energies a little bit. We went over the energy of the Mercury retrograde and what it is that Mercury represents. Mercury represents our mind, right? Mercury is the way we think, the way that we communicate, the way that we process and share information. And so Mercury retrogrades can traditionally be a little bit funky, right? Communication can sometimes be off because what we're doing is we're utilizing a different aspect of our consciousness. We can look at the Mercury cycles as the conscious and the subconscious. And so when Mercury is moving direct, right, we are operating more out of our conscious minds. And when Mercury goes retrograde, we're operating more out of the subconscious. And so the reason for this is because it allows us to see things from different perspectives. It allows us to absorb information, transmit information, and then really internalize that information when Mercury goes retrograde. And so it gives us a really great opportunity to see and examine things from a different angle and to go a little bit deeper. Retrogrades are a very internal process. And we've seen this 2020 has been a wild year for retrogrades. Every single planet has gone retrograde at some point. I mean, it has just been bananas. And we have a lot of planets. We have Saturn, who just went direct, as well as Jupiter. Pluto is going to be going direct as well very shortly here. And then we'll just have Mars, right? But yeah, this year, it's been, as we've seen with all these retrogrades, an incredibly internalized process. So much growth, so much transformation as we've really been asked to go inside by these different planets and all of these different aspects of our lives that they represent, all these different aspects of our consciousness. And so this Mercury retrograde is going to help to tie a lot of that stuff together. But first, it's really going to dig deep. This retrograde is happening primarily in Scorpio, though it will finish out in Libra. And so we see this pattern that we've had throughout 2020 of Mercury going retrograde in these water signs. Water signs, and we did see him dip in one of the previous retrogrades briefly into an air sign as well. And so that flow of water to air, logic and intuition, right? Conscious and subconscious. As we've been being taught how to navigate these waters, how to utilize our intuition and our conscious minds at the same time, right? How to find that balance. And so we're continuing to be taught that balance. But with this retrograde in Scorpio, we're also being asked to go deep, deep, deep within, right? Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. It is the planet, or it is the sign, right, that represents the subconscious. And so when Mercury goes retrograde, which is a subconscious process, in the sign that represents the shadow and represents the subconscious, this is some really intense, deep work that we're being asked to do. We're being asked to really examine our mental processes. This is going to highlight, especially, right, some of that stuff that Scorpio energy can represent. So we're going to be looking and examining our obsessions, our compulsions, all the ways, the loops that our brain tends to go in, right, when we get into this obsessive nature, because Scorpio can have that obsessive type of nature, right? It also, we're going to be looking at, Scorpio is a sign that is the most sexually charged sign. It represents deep, true intimacy. So we're going to be examining that, especially with this Mercury retrograde, beginning with a sextile to Venus and ending in Libra, which is a sign ruled by Venus that also rules partnership. There's going to be a heavy emphasis on relationship and partnership and just intimacy in general. Not only intimacy with others, but true intimacy with ourselves, right? Like, are we able to look at ourselves, to look into ourselves, and to really behold and accept what's there? That's going to be a question that is going to be on a lot of our minds. This retrograde also begins on October 14th with an opposition to Uranus. And so Uranus is the planet of freedom, of rebellion, right? Of the maverick type energy. And Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. So we're really also being challenged throughout this Mercury retrograde to really look higher, to look at things from that, not just from a different perspective, which we get with the retrograde, but from a higher perspective, from a more evolved perspective. Our consciousness is being challenged to evolve, as well as our communication, how we perceive information, how we understand all of the different filters that information goes through, the different biases, and sort of weed that out, and then how we communicate that information to others, and how we are willing to be, like we said, intimate with ourselves and intimate with others. Because if we can't be truly intimate with ourselves, it's very difficult to be truly intimate with others. During the second half of this retrograde as well, Mercury is going to be squaring Saturn with a loose square as well to Jupiter and Pluto. And it will be finishing out this retrograde in a square to Saturn. And so this is where we're really looking at those belief systems, right? Where we're really looking at the habitual mental programming, right? The structure of our minds and how that's working for us or how that's working against us. And we're being able to see that, though, from a higher perspective, right? We may be plunged very deep into it, but if we allow ourselves to go on that journey and to look at that from an unbiased and slightly detached point of view, which is going to be hard because Scorpio energy is not detached. It is a fixed water sign. Scorpio energy is highly emotional. It's also highly intuitive, right? So this is, and highly passionate. So this is going to be a passionate, seriously, spiritually, and evolutionary charged retrograde. And we're going to be sifting through all those deep, dark waters of our own consciousness to a degree that we typically really don't, right? Mercury retrograde is always about that, but in the sign of Scorpio, we're going deep, deep in there. And so that's going to be the challenge, right? Scorpio energy can be incredibly intuitive and discerning and can transform, right? It's that energy of transmutation. It's that Phoenix energy, that Plutonian energy, right? But if Scorpio is unwilling to go deep within, then we can be just a victim of anxieties and obsessions and compulsions and paranoias. And so we want to avoid sinking into that energy and instead go deeper, instead look deeper. And I am really pleased to announce that I will be offering theta healing sessions very, very soon, which can really help with digging into these belief systems and this subconscious programming and all of this stuff that we're going to be working through. My Belvaspata sessions can absolutely help with that as well. So I really encourage people to try that out. I'm still doing the special right now, sliding scale $77.77 to $99.99, whatever it is that you can afford within that range. I really, really encourage you to take advantage of that offer. This energy healing modality is so incredibly powerful. It works with the heart energy. It works with all of the energies and the rays of light and emotion, the angelic beings, and it can really help to open up all of those energy centers, especially that heart center, and bring some clarity and some understanding and some peace. Right? It reconnects us with our own divinity. So that can be really helpful during this time. I also offer personal readings, ascension transit charts, all kinds of stuff. You can check it out in the description box below. I don't want to take up too much time going into all that stuff, but just know there are resources there. But that's what we're being asked to do right now, is to really look wherever it is that we've been afraid to look before. Throughout this year of 2020, even with all of these planets in retrograde, wherever we have been afraid to look before, we are being challenged to look now and to take a really, really in-depth, unbiased look, right? An honest look. And we can come out of this so much stronger than we were before. We also have we have not only this square to Saturn finishing out the retrograde, but also an opposition to Eris, which is the feminine warrior planet. So that empowerment, that theme of empowerment is going to be so, so strong, especially when it comes to the feminine side of our essence. So that is absolutely something to keep in mind as well as we go through this. And finishing out in Libra is going to be really beneficial because it's going to help us as we move out of Scorpio and into this air sign, right? This is going to help us to kind of put everything into its place, like really logically understand everything that we've been feeling and intuiting and delving into, right? And it's going to, if there are anywhere where things are not quite making sense yet and we haven't quite been able to put our finger on things, this energy of moving into Libra is really going to help with that. And it's really going to help with that. Right, Libra in its highest expression is about balance, fairness, justice, equality, right? Harmony in relationships. So it's going to bring a harmonious feel and an ability to really then utilize everything that we've learned and put that into action, especially in the ways that we interact and communicate with others in our lives. And I actually, now that we're on this right now, I want to look this up and take a look because I totally forgot to check. Yes, Pluto is going direct. When is Pluto going direct? I should have this information for you guys. You know me, sometimes I space things. Pluto will be direct as well during this retrograde. So that is really exciting. Yes, Pluto may actually already be direct. Sorry, guys. Let me check here. Yeah, Pluto just went direct, so perfect. Sometimes I slack. There's been a lot going on, you guys. There's been a lot going on with the classes that I've been taking this week and all this stuff. It slipped my mind to mention that. So Pluto will be direct throughout this retrograde, which is only really going to add, I think, to that oomph, right? Because now Pluto's energy is focused in a forward trajectory. So I feel like that's going to, just the shifting of that and how that's happened so close to the beginning of this retrograde, I think is also substantial and something to take into account that's really enhancing that energy, right, of the shadow, of the subconscious, of our empowerment, right? Because Pluto is ultimately empowerment. But Pluto shows us, helps us to overcome all of our shadow nature, right? All of our addictions, all of our compulsions, all of those distorted ways that we use power, right? And understand power so that we can find ultimate power over ourselves. And so we're really seeing those themes playing out as Mercury goes retrograde in the sign that Pluto rules. And we're doing some Black Moon astrology cards right now. See what these cards have to say about the Mercury retrograde. Guidance for the Mercury retrograde. And so we have Virgo, I analyze. And then we have the 8th house, endings and beginnings, right? And so this is the house that is ruled by Scorpio and by Pluto. So this is really, it's that this is what's going to be heavy on our minds, right? Virgo is that mind energy. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. And so Virgos are probably, I'm getting that a lot of Virgos as well as Scorpios are going to be feeling this energy. But this is about where our mind is going to be at, what it is that we're thinking about. And it's all of this Plutonian stuff like we were just talking about, right? So this is the intimacy, this is life and death, mortality, right? Our deepest fears, our phobias, our anxieties, our obsessions, our compulsions, but also like our higher spiritual nature, right? All of those, the unseen, the unknown, the most visceral of life's experiences, all of the mystery of life, right? Is the things that are going to be on our minds as we move through this retrograde. And that is where we're going to gain this higher perspective. I can see a lot of people coming out of this with a much higher perspective, not only of themselves and the way their own minds work, but of the mysteries of life and death, right? Like a serious spiritual breakthrough, if you will. Yeah, Virgo and Gemini are always very affected by the Mercury retrogrades because they are ruled by Mercury. And so we're also going to be looking at the fixed signs, which would be Aquarius, Taurus, Scorpio. And it's going into Libra a little bit. So we got some of those those mutable energies as well, or cardinal energies rather. But definitely the fixed signs and the Virgo and Gemini. I know. My poor Virgos and Geminis. Mercury goes retrograde a lot. You guys go through it. But that's why you have such incredibly keen and sharp minds, right? And then we have the Mars card, Force. So this is that fiery energy right there, right? This is the energy that we've been feeling. Mars is still going to be in retrograde, and this is the energy of empowerment. This is that I am energy, right? This is that energy, that Aries I am energy. This is all of those aspects. This is, I'm also feeling it when we talk about Eris, which is like the feminine counterpart to Mars, right? The feminine warrior planet, and how we're ending with that opposition. But just a lot of energy around our empowerment still coming up, always coming up. This power that we're gaining over our minds, this power that we are, it's interesting. I'm feeling like the power over life and death. Like people are really, this is like intense energy, you guys, is feeling and understanding that, overcoming. This is like an overcoming, this forceful energy. I'm feeling that moving forward, like the overcoming of these fears, the overcoming of these phobias, of these compulsions as that Mars energy kicks into gear. And then we have the 5th house, creativity, coming out along with the Libra energy, I balance, right? Which is how we're finishing out this retrograde. So really a surge in creativity as well. A surge in all of the 5th house has to do with, and this is the house of romance and dating, right? This is the house of pleasure, of everything that's fun, all the things that make life worth living. And so I'm feeling for a lot of people, there's a need to balance these aspects of the life. There's a need to balance play with this productive, fast moving energy. It's a balancing, right? Because we're talking about Scorpio energy. We are talking about that sexuality. So also like a balancing of our libido energies, a balancing of all the different areas that we put effort and energy into in our lives, and sort of a synergy of how we tie those all together. Like people really learning and understanding how to do that, which is really interesting. Yeah, and just a highly fruitful, creative energy. Any other cards here? All right. And then we have Sagittarius and Leo coming out. And so, yeah, the Leo, that's more of that creative energy, right? That's more of that magnetism, that confidence. I'm really feeling that energy is that surge of confidence with the Mars and the Leo cards coming out. Really a surge in confidence, and the way we see ourselves and the way we allow ourselves to be seen. Like I'm being drawn to the masks here, right? And so this energy of really learning, what is the mask that I wear? And am I ready to take that mask off? Is we're really going to be thinking about that kind of stuff. This is where we talk about the intimacy, right? Especially when we have like the lovers right here on this Libra card next to this energy of the masks, right? So this intimacy energy, this really understanding what it means to be truly intimate, like we talked about, with ourselves, with another. And really, the masks that we wear. And like I see, right, Sagittarius, which masks are we wearing? Are we ready to take those masks off and be who we truly are, right? And take center stage in our own lives. Yeah. We're really, with this IC energy, it's like those breakthroughs, those understandings, those epiphanies that are going to happen. And that's super philosophical energy too. Yeah, this is going to be, we're going to be really in our heads and in our hearts, right? In our feels, but in the best way. This is, we want to make sure that we fully understand this. When we're talking about a Mercury retrograde in a water sign, especially a super passionate, intense water sign like Scorpio, we are talking about an overwhelm of emotion, the emotion taking over. And yes, our goal is to balance that with the logic, right? But also to allow ourselves to be engulfed in that emotion when we need to be engulfed in that emotion, so that it can show us what it is that we are ready to see. All right, let's get a couple Monology cards as well. Mercury Retrograde. Final Mercury Retrograde of 2020. What guidance do we have here? We have full moon in Aries. A fiery climax approaches. And we have new moon in Leo, right? More of that Leo energy coming through. Confidence is your key to success. And so, yeah, this is, I mean, we want to be really careful when it comes to these retrogrades, especially when we have one that has this intimacy energy, this relationship energy. This is a time when we do tend to have people coming back from the past, right? So that's always something that we want to look out for. And we want to really see and understand, why is this person, why are they coming back into my reality, right? Is there something here that's ready to be wrapped up, that's ready to be closed out? Anything like starting a relationship during Mercury retrograde, especially one in Scorpio, not highly recommended. It's best to wait, right? But definitely pay attention to, and I mean, do whatever you want, right? I mean, that would just be my personal opinion. But definitely paying attention to what's coming up, because those things that we've repressed, right, tend to come to the surface during a retrograde period. And so if there is somebody that you're thinking about, or somebody that's thinking about you, it's not because of the retrograde. It's because you were always there in the back of their minds, and vice versa. And now this energy is just bringing it to the surface. But still, we want to give Mercury time to do its thing before we make any major decisions, especially when it comes to relationships right now. Yeah, but this fiery climax approaches, like with this energy, it is that Scorpio, that hot and heavy energy. Like there are communication, because we are communicating from a different level of our consciousness, right, can be a bit strained. So we really want to be careful how it is that we're communicating and what it is that we're saying, and not to get super caught up in that high emotionality, right? Yeah. But this is, I mean, I'm feeling this, now that we've got that disclaimer out of the way though, I'm feeling this energy as like somebody finally getting the confidence to do what it is that they need to do, right? This is Aries energy. This is Mars energy. This is like taking charge kind of energy. So finally, getting up that confidence where that confidence may have been lacking, to make a move, right? And so, yeah, I'm feeling that energy coming through. I'm feeling that energy coming through for a lot of people. Whatever it is that you've been trying to get up the courage to do, when you get that courage to do it, just go for it. Just go for it. I mean, like I said, if this has to do with starting a relationship, I mean, go for it. Say what you need to say. Put that out there. But maybe also wait until Mercury goes direct again and you get the flip side and the balance to whatever emotions and energies are coming up right now. But don't hold back just because it's a Mercury retrograde. If you are finally feeling this fire and you've been waiting for this, and this is giving you the courage and the confidence to do what you need to do, then absolutely do it, right? And it says expect powerful change. This retrograde is going to, it's kind of like, I feel it sort of like the gasoline to the fire. Like it is going to set a lot of things in motion, things that have maybe been kind of sitting on the back burner. It's like that burner gets turned on full blast now. And so there are going to be incredible changes coming out of this. Just incredible changes in general throughout the rest of 2020 and into the beginning of 2021 here. I mean, we have this is sort of like prep right now. We're being prepared for a lot of these changes that are coming. And so we really want to take note of what's coming up for us during this retrograde, what we are experiencing, what's being brought into our reality. And then your hard work is paying off. Yeah. So I'm feeling this. I'm definitely feeling this energy for some people. In terms of career too, especially like this Leo energy can indicate that with this Leo card from the Black Moon Astrology. And with this, I'm feeling like somebody just really getting the confidence they need to move forward in terms of their career path, and really just like blowing people out of the water, just like exploding kind of like all of a sudden you go from being kind of quiet and behind the scenes and slowly kind of chipping away and working away to like boom, being right in the spotlight, being recognized for your achievements. It says your hard work is paying off, new moon in Capricorn. Those of you who have been working and toiling very hard at something, putting a lot of effort into something that means a lot to you. I can see this energy just like an explosion. It's like fireworks. It's really beautiful, really intense. And then you and your loved ones are safe, new moon in Cancer. This card comes out all the time. So that's continued confirmation for people that those of you who are worried about family situations, dynamics, things like that, like you and your loved ones are safe and are being taken care of. And for some of you, whatever this career stuff is here is going to allow you to be able to care for your family and your loved ones in a way that maybe you weren't able to care for them before. And on the bottom of the deck, we have full moon in Virgo. You are good enough. Our insecurities, our fears are going to be brought up. We want to remember not to be too hard on ourselves, to really just love ourselves fiercely throughout all of this energy, which can sometimes be incredibly challenging when we're having to look at these aspects of our nature that we may not have looked at before. I want to pull a Sacred Rebels card for you guys as well. Let's see what the Sacred Rebels deck has to say. Yeah, a lot of intense energy, passionate energy, fiery energy, confrontational energy possibly, right? Confrontational and passive aggressive, like Scorpio can flip from one to the other, right? So vindictive behavior, like all of those energies coming out in people as well. So just being really careful how we navigate that and really paying attention when we're triggered and doing what the retrograde asks us to do and going within with that and seeing what's going on within us. What is this bringing up for me? Why is this coming up for me? Right? Looking at always constantly bringing it back to the self and disengaging from situations where people are wanting to be combative. Right? That's when we go back to that Libra energy, that energy of balance, that energy of diplomacy. Don't get caught up in that. Do not get caught up in that energy. And so we had listening for truth come out. And we're going to read that from the book. Truth speaks to us constantly, but not always in words. It may communicate through a feeling that is hard to put into words, but brings an inexplicable sense of peace, trust, and the knowledge that somehow everything is going to work out perfectly, even if there is little evidence of how it is all going to happen. You are being asked to listen for the truths beneath the words rather than the superficial message of the words themselves. And this has Scorpio energy written all over it because Scorpio is so good at doing this when they're able to tune in. This is especially true for the communications of those around you, the press, the newspapers, and the mass media. You will begin to hear fear in the words and actions of those around you, even as they preach love. Listen deeper. Listen for truth. This oracle comes with a message of truth for you. You are hearing something that is not being said, and what you are hearing is truthful. You may feel as though you are the only one that is really ready to hear or see it. Perhaps you have been working in a situation or loving in a relationship where truth is consistently denied. We live in a world where truth is frequently avoided out of fear of what it might reveal. At the basis of such actions, consciously or not, is a deep sense of unhealed toxic shame. If you or someone else is fearful that the truth will expose rather than free and heal, then some personal healing is required. It is time for letting go of old wounds in favor of a greater sense of self-love and acceptance. You are being asked to love yourself enough to honor the truth, even if you feel like you are the only one doing so. Sacred rebels need truth like lungs need oxygen. Truth keeps the energy of life flowing through the rebellious heart. Lies dampen the spirit of the sacred rebel. Even if those with less awakened hearts fear the truth, you must not turn away from it. Don't resent this state of affairs. Perhaps your job is to show that truth can be witnessed even when many may want to hide from it. What others do is always their choice, but through your honorable deeds done with integrity, you will be set free, no matter what the outcome. You are a truth seeker. Never deny or try to quiet this down to make others comfortable. You are meant to be an agitator at times, even though you don't have to confront people to do it. You don't necessarily have to say a word, though sometimes you will. Often you will agitate in the most loving sense by unveiling truth simply through your knowings. Hold compassion for the truth you behold. Do not use them as knives to cut another or yourself with harshness, but as the clear insight that allows one to loosen the knots that bind, simply by knowing which thread to gently tug. This oracle brings you guidance. If you have been worn down and depressed by the lies, gossip, deceit, or backstabbing going on around you, don't fret. Go out in nature and spend some time communing with the infinite. Healing will come to you now. No matter how many times, in how many ways, or by how many tongues untruth is spoken, you know what you know in your sacred, rebellious heart. That truth is your connection to the living truth of life itself. Don't give up. Just open up to healing and know that the truth always, eventually prevails. Yeah, and so that is perfect energy. This is listening to the truth within our own hearts, right? Deciphering the truth, seeing beyond, right? Seeing beyond the masks, right, that people wear to the heart of the matter, really. And standing firmly in our own truth and standing firmly in our own knowledge. Yeah, this is that time where all of those uncomfortable truths are surfacing for many people. And those who are uncomfortable with the truth and don't want to face the truth will attempt to continue to bury their heads in the sand. And they may try to take you down in the process, right? We talked about this, that Scorpio energy can be passive aggressive. It can be vengeful. It can be all of these things, right? Scorpio has that tail, right? The scorpion knows how to sting, and it will sting when provoked. And that provoking can come in many different ways. Those whose version of reality is being threatened right now are lashing out, and we see that happening all around us, right? If you look on social media, if you look in the news, all of these different places, you can see people who are afraid, who have uncomfortable truths that are starting to surface, that start as just like this quiet little nagging inside, right? And then get louder and louder, and they don't want to face that. They don't want to see that. And so they lash out. And so this is the energy of not being discouraged by that and standing in our own truth anyway, right? Speaking that truth with love and compassion, but speaking that truth no matter what. This is a time where truths will be revealed, and this is like we have to act accordingly. Right? And then we have after the storm. And so this card speaks of the storms that we go through in life, that healing process, right? When everything is complete chaos and it seems as though all hope is lost, but we are really preparing, we're being washed clean so that we can come out on the other side of that. This is a transformational energy, like the painful transformation, the tower kind of energy, right? And I want to pull just a couple like good old-fashioned tarot cards, clear, and see what other energies we have coming up for this as well. So this is fine-tuning our ability to see, right? To see into the heart of ourselves and the heart of others, and to utilize that keen intuition and to move from a place of that, of seeing and witnessing truth, and then acting according to that truth, right? All right, what energies for Mercury retrograde? Ooh, okay. All right, so we got the Lovers coming out with the 10 of Cups. Okay, so there's that relationship energy, you guys. There is those decisions that may be made in love, right? That is something that this Lovers card represents, and some of those decisions may turn out very well. This is like, I'm feeling like a lot of us, this is what we're wanting. This is what we're working towards, is this 10 of Cups. And so we're going to be getting some new perspective on different situations in our lives when it comes to our romantic partnerships. And like, is this leading to this, right? Are my choices and my decisions leading me to my 10 of Cups, or are they not? And the 10 of Cups is like complete emotional fulfillment, right? And then we have Temperance. This is patience. This is balance. This is alchemy. And we have the 8 of Pentacles. Hard work, dedication. So we are working to achieve that balance, right? These situations have required patience. All of these situations that we've been dealing with, and absolutely in these situations where our love life is concerned, it's really interesting. I'm feeling like I'm noticing and I'm seeing the similarities in these two cards right now with these angels. And I feel as though there is like a divine union type energy. There's an energy of, I feel like your angels really like kind of watching over you and guiding you. Like there are divinely guided situations and unions that are in the works right now and have been for quite some time. I almost feel like this is your angels that have been working really hard at this, at bringing you this, right? And they've been kind of pouring back and forth, trying to get all the ingredients together, trying to help you to see and understand the situation. This is really interesting energy, yeah. And then we got the 7 of Pentacles coming out. So a lot of hard work here, a lot of hard work and dedication that's gone into this. And this is like the work, and this, it's kind of funny how these cards are. We have the 7 coming out after the 8. So it's almost like it's that retrograde process, right? That process of moving backward. Like all this hard work and dedication that's been put into something, and now moving back from like, it also feels like somebody who really thought they knew what they wanted. And then this retrograde hits and they're like, oh shit, wait a minute. And in this process of revising and rethinking and sort of being like, wait, is everything that I'm doing, everything that I'm working towards going to get me to where it is that I'm trying to go right now? And then we have the Page of Cups and the Queen of Wands. So this is feminine fire energy, right? So this would be like a Leo, Aries, Sagittarius type energy. But it's a feminine energy who's very charismatic, who's very sensual, very sexual, very in her power, right? And it's interesting because I'm being drawn to the sunflower here that she's holding. I'm being drawn to the sunflower. And of course, as always, the fish in the cup. So this feels like a new beginning. And the Page of Cups always seems like an apology. That's what I always associate it with. So somebody coming up with an apology, looking for a new beginning. So that may be, I mean, we talked about this with the retrograde, people from our past coming back in, right? This is an energy. This is something that does tend to happen. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like somebody's been just patiently chipping away, working away at something, and now all of a sudden is feeling there's something, it's like this fiery climax approaches kind of energy, something that this is with this apology. It's more, this doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a feminine fire sign that's coming in with this apology. This just means that fiery, passionate energy is triggered and may lead to that apology. And then we have the 8 of Cups here, which is interesting. And we do have the Scorpio death card on the bottom of the deck, by the way. We have the 8 of Cups. Tell me about the 8 of Cups. Whoa, that went far there. 8 of Cups with the King of Swords and the 4 of Swords. And so this energy of needing to walk away and really detach from everything that isn't serving and go into this contemplation mode. And so I feel like this is kind of the guidance in a way right now, is like, this is where we're really coming to understand on a deeper level what it is that is and is not serving us, and being given the opportunity to remove those things that are not, and to really then retreat into this place of healing. retreat into our intuition, right? The High Priestess. Retreat into our higher self, our higher knowing, which then brings about a whole new phase of abundance. So that is beautiful energy. That is really beautiful energy. I'm feeling this King of Swords energy too is like, because the Eight of Cups is this highly emotional energy. So this King of Swords energy as really stepping up our game in terms of our mental space and how we handle those mental and emotional energies. And an incredible healing that comes in around that as our mental faculties are upgraded, right? The High Priestess, that's our higher self, right? Our higher self, as we move into this period of moving through these tougher, heavier emotional energies, these complex mental energies, right? Into this place of rest where we're able to deeply connect, to go deep inside and connect with our higher self, with our intuition, which is going to lead us to exactly what it is that we seek. And that's that energy that we felt coming in of like making it big, right? Blowing up. So yeah, a bunch of really strange, and then we have the Star on the bottom of the deck, which is Aquarius energy, but this is healing, right? This is trust, this is vulnerability, this is spiritual connection, right? So that's beautiful. That's a lot of different interesting energies that we tapped into for this. So I hope you guys enjoyed this reading. Buckle up. It's going to be an intense Mercury retrograde, but it's going to be absolutely beautiful. And just take advantage of these energies. Go deep within. Look deep within yourself. Really pay attention to those loops that your mind is going in, right? Where is your mind trying to take you? And do you want to go there anymore? Because you have the opportunity right now to move above and beyond that energy, if you so choose. Yeah, that's it. As I said, all of my services are in the description box below. There's also a link to donate if you feel moved to donate to my channel. I absolutely appreciate that. I absolutely appreciate every one of you. Drop a comment if this resonated. The likes, the shares, the subscribes, they all help very much to get this message out to as many people as possible. Although we always trust that everyone who's meant to hear it will. As I said, and I say a million times, love you all so very much, and I will talk to you soon. Happy retrograde. We're almost through it, you guys. Almost through the retrograde season. Just take it all as an opportunity to grow, to see more, to feel more, to know more, right? To be more. All right. Bye.